Good rising, good awakenings. Thank you for dropping in. Just burning some sage and Palo Santo. Feeling kind of low earlier today. Good rising, great awakenings. Thanks for tuning in. A little housekeeping. Okay. All right. Uja, good rising and great awakenings. Yeah, I suppose you could say this is a Tuesday. Oh, Uja, Pasuranda. It's good to see you here today. I've been coming on only once a week lately. It feels kind of weird, so hopefully it'll come together and be on more often. Yep, so I hope you all enjoyed the planetary alignment that's winding down right now. That started January 21st. And on February 28th, Mercury joined in. We had a wonderful time together last week. I think it was Friday. Friday? It was Friday. It was really good. And I was joking. I was once saying, I can't imagine what else can possibly happen. So many things opened up for me during that time. And lo and behold, something wonderful did happen. Something did happen on Friday for me. Saturday for me, I connected with a spiritual community here in town. I don't know how to pronounce their name. It's an African term, and I've only seen it like once or twice, but they go by HYU. And so I'm on a trial is to serve as spiritual advisor on Kemetic spirituality and Indigenous spirituality, culture, and wisdom. So I'm excited about that. Let's see if I can get these screens in alignment because I'm going side to side. I don't know if I can get it closer. Wait, I can do this. That's a little closer. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I didn't know what to expect. So today, we're going to be talking about TaMeriKan spirituality, culture, wisdom, mostly the cosmology, looking for the connection between the cosmic forces of nature from Kemet and those here on TaMeri, which I refer to as TaMeriKan, Neterian spirituality, because we follow the Neters. We're not limited by time, space, location, or even melanin, because there's indigenous people of the four directions, and these indigenous people are descendants of the Aboriginal melanated people of the four directions, which we call Aboriginal. And I've stopped using the term Black to describe myself or my identity. So just Neterian, and that covers everything. So that's what we dive into here. And I didn't really know what I was going to talk about today. But now I do. I watched a short video by We Know the Truth Now. He's on TikTok and YouTube. And he always sets me in the right direction. So, like I said, it took me a long time to get started today. In fact, let's start with a song. I don't usually have new music on this one. I don't really have an opening. So let's just start with the Cherokee song of gratitude, and then we'll keep going. Drum, it represents the cosmos, the four directions, and how we line up with the Milky Way. It's representing the four seasons, the four aspects of being, the four directions. And that's what the spiral dance medicine wheel is all about. That's what this presentation is all about. So like I was saying, I watched the video. Oh no, that's a song of Thanksgiving. It's a Cherokee song. You can find a reggae version somewhere online, your favorite music platform, once I renew my membership. But anyway, and I forgot to sing the English translation of the second line, which is Nutawali Jenilisi, which means son or grandmother. And I find it interesting how it's kind of opposite of the like African or Neterian traditions, because in those the sun is masculine and the sky is feminine. But in this tradition, it's reversed. And I always wondered why they don't have water in that song of Thanksgiving. Okay. So anyway, I was watching We Know the Truth Now, the brother who's like, roll the corn, roll the corn. He's on TikTok and YouTube. And I just happened to see his recent video, which is about the hero twins, which we've been learning about from the Maya cosmos, right? And how it reminds me of Heru, which means the hero. And then they have the hero twins and the divine mother. And in the Neterian tradition, or the Kemetic tradition, we have Heru and the divine goddess twin goddesses, Aset. So I thought that was interesting. But in his video, he points out the different indigenous Aboriginal cultures that have hero twins. And that refers to the constellation Gemini, which we know is the Olmec Mayan basketball court constellation, right? Which is one of the constellations in the sacred hoop from the Lakota Nation, right? That's the one on this side. Is the Gemini twins, or the basketball court, because there's some smaller stars that go down this way. They go down this way, okay? So he pointed out with, I think it's Sumerian. Then the Kemetic tradition has two lovers, not two twins. He pointed out Navajo tradition. Of course, the Olmec Mayan traditions, lots of those. And so, that was like confirming for me. And then he said that you can see the Aboriginal culture from North America, Turtle Island, North America, that has the twins, which he says predates all the other ones. But and we don't really know the origin of the mounds there in the spiral mounds, which to me sounds like the spiral mounds. And I didn't know about them. They're in Oklahoma. So I've decided to go there during the month of Gemini on this chart, not the Western chart, because this chart follows the actual motion of the sun and the stars through the constellation. So we won't be able to see the sun in Gemini. Okay, but I guess when we see it rise or set, we'll see it, but we won't be able to look up and say, oh, that's Gemini, the sun is in Gemini. So maybe rethink that. But that would be the time to go when the sun is in Gemini. So that would be in June. I'll have to think about somewhere June 20th to July 20th. So it might be more fun to go when the moon is in sidereal Gemini, right? Maybe we could go like at sunset while the sun is in Gemini. Yeah, that might be more fun, like at sunset, because then we'll see the moon. We can see like a sliver of the moon in the sacred hoop. Or maybe there's a planet in Gemini while the sun is in Gemini. Well, anyway, it'll be sometime then. So we have a schedule now. So I went to Cahokia Mound for midwinter, and then I have a family trip planned to Indianapolis around April 1st, like April 31st, which is the original New Year's Day. That's when, before the church changed the New Year to January 1st, which is Sirius culmination, it was on April 1st, which is like 10 days after, no, not even 10. Well, yeah, because March is long. 10 days after the spring equinox, which is when the church and the West established most of their holidays. Oh, there's a comment. Good rising. Let's see. Peace, love, and abundance from Enigma Smoo. Well, thank you, Enigma Smoo. It's good to know you. Yeah, so I'm going to be in Indianapolis for the April 1st New Year, but we'll be at March 31st, which is just the same, right? Because there's a Mounds National State Park in Indianapolis, which I didn't know about. But that's going to be like a family trip, because we're going to go get our family records. Our cousins had them for a few years, and now I'm going to get them back. Then the Serpent Mound during the summer solstice, at the sunset on the summer solstice. So I'm planning to be there for a spiral dance ceremony on June 22nd. And you all are welcome to join me. I've spoken to 3 or 4 people that said they're going to meet me there or ride with me down there. And so now we add sometime during the month of Gemini. I'm going to look and see when it would be most auspicious for us to be there, because if we just go, we won't be able to see the sun in Gemini because it'll be too bright. But if we go like during the full moon while the sun's in Gemini, now that might be a ticket. The full moon while the sun is in Gemini. Full moon or something. It won't be 6:20 because I'll be in Ohio. I wonder how long of a drive it is from Ohio to Oklahoma. But I want to see when is the full moon during this time. And that's probably when we'll go, because then the full moon will be inside the sacred hoop. Yeah, that's when we're going to go, when the full moon during Gemini. Yeah, that's going to be amazing, because then the full moon will be inside the sacred hoop, which is the most auspicious time for me, because I'm a galactic girl, not a lunar girl. And so I like to have celebrations whenever something is inside of this area of Gemini, Sirius, Orion, and the Pleiades. don't know if you can see it close up. But anytime there's something going on in here, let me show you the chart that came to me. Yeah, here's because I had that green flash sunrise where I got the Hesiod Neterian meditation system, and I started working on the books, which are almost, I can say they're almost finished. But anyway, this is a diagram. It looks like a double megaphone or a speaker system, right? So this represents us on the earth, the center, right? And then on this side, it's hard to do this backwards, as it represents the sacred hoop, where we have Asar, Orion, Aset, Sirius, Anpu, the great dog, Gemini, which is called Pimahi, is the Neterian word, or the lovers, or the hero twins, and the seven sister stars of the Pleiades. And then on the other side is Ophiuchus, the 13th constellation, which just represents the healer, or turning towards alternative healing, symbolized by a man with a snake between his legs, and it also represents Imhotep. So I have a lot of, I get really excited when objects are inside of these areas. And there was a time when I was trying to go live during that time, but everything just got chaotic. So then here again is the diagram of the spiral dance medicine wheel. And somebody asked me to make this available, so that will be included in the winter solstice hand guide, soul wind, or whatever. But it represents the 4 seasons. We have winter at the top, fall is red, summer is down at the black, and spring is to the yellow. And then we also celebrate the mid-seasons: mid-fall, mid-spring, mid-summer, and mid-winter. So it represents the 4 elements, the 4 aspects of being, the 4 directions, the indigenous people of the 4 directions. Oh, thank you. Rasta Mystic is here. The 4 directions, indigenous people, 4 directions. And according to the Hopi prophecy, during the 3rd shaking of the earth, which we are definitely in right now, the indigenous people of the 4 directions are supposed to be able to come together and share the teachings, because we each have one aspect of the teachings. You know, we have body, mind, soul, spirit. You're not going to exist with just spirit or just body or just mind or just soul. You have to have it all integrated. So during this time, we're supposed to come together and share the teachings. And over the years, I've come to the realization that, you know, that this represents how the world looks today, you know, with the 4 quote unquote races. I don't like to use that term anymore, but the 4 degrees of melanin. But what I've come to realize over the past couple of years is the original people of the 4 directions were people like, you know, like me, or like us, the melanated copper people are the Aboriginal people of the 4 directions. So we represent the center, and then it just it spiraled out, and this is how it looks now. And so it's a spiral dance, meaning it's spiral, it's evolving. We're always evolving. We're moving towards something, right? This is spiraling out. And so at this point of the middle of the middle of winter, the Chinese New Year, February 1st, that's when it ascends. You know, it goes around spring, summer, fall, winter, and then at the middle of winter, you go up a layer on the spiral, and that's when I went to Cahokia Mount for the midwinter. Okay. So let's go into some more readings from some of my favorite books that I haven't read in a long time. I haven't read from this book in a long time. This was my first book from the Introduction to the Galactic Worldview. We may have read everything in here by now, so yeah, I think we did. We've covered everything in here. So I guess the next step is just to go ahead and publish it. Okay, I like this page. Let's read. I'm gonna read this page again. It's got some interesting diagrams from the Quechua Aboriginal Peruvian culture. This is actually my favorite diagram. So this part here, I'm gonna kind of get a close up. It shows how there's a road in their village that crosses with a river, and the river represents the Milky Way, and the road represents the ecliptic. And they have different villages aligned around that. And so they have festivals at different times of the year to resonate with the position of the Milky Way in relation to the river. And I just think that's fascinating. And that's what inspired me to start the spiral dance medicine wheel ceremonies. And it's Mismene is where it's located. I've been to Peru. I went to Machu Picchu, but I didn't know. And so I didn't get off the train at Mismene. So I'm going to go back. So if you ever get the chance to go to Machu Picchu, you ride a train from Cusco, and there's this one train stop. And like most of the people got off the train there, and I didn't know why. It's because that's where I actually wanted to go. But I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to this place and check out the village. So let me just read a little bit here. The organization and structure of celestial space. The Quechua used terrestrial landmarks like trees and mountaintops to provide orientation points in the sky. In discussions with the people of Mismene about astronomy, Gary Urton states that the Milky Way equals the Mayu equals the river figured prominently in defining the position of constellations and in relating two or more constellations in the sky. This movement of the Milky Way is likened to the movement of a clock. The sky is divided into four parts determined by the positions of the Mayu. So here's another diagram of their village, how it's lined up to reflect the motion of the way the Milky Way moves in relation to the ecliptic, which we learned about from the Mayan traditions, Olmec Mayan traditions. Once the Maya were invaded by the Aztec, the culture of this region became one associated with human sacrifice, mortal war games, and sun worship, with the sun requiring human souls for offering. Because I hear there's certain words you're not supposed to say on this app, so I can't even read from a book. Gary Urton, another researcher from UT, in his book At the Crossroads of the Earth and Sky, gives a detailed account of cultural and ethno-astronomical practices of the Cusco region today and yesterday. This includes info ranging from calendars and planting cycles, village layout, and festival observances, as well as Andean constellations. Another relevant theme is the orientation of the stars of the four quarters. Here we find yet another example of an ancient galactic culture which was invaded and subsequently developed or forced into a sun-worshipping society. What follows are excerpts from Urton's book. And this book was stolen from me when my library was stolen. So I guess the pages are out of order, so I can't read anymore. But I can show some of the pictures. Yeah, they're really out of order. So, well, here's an interesting diagram. This is down here. This shows the Gemini. Right here, the Gemini twins. In this tradition, it's called the copulating peccaries. And then over here, there is Orion. In this tradition, it's the great turtle. And the three stars on the turtle's back were placed into motion, which started creation. And in the Dogon tradition, that's what happened with Sirius. When Sirius began to spiral, then creation spiraled out of Sirius. So there's so many cultural correspondences, and I hope to bring these out more in the future. Okay, yeah, I took the book apart, took the staples out so I could start making photocopies, but now they're out of order. So, all right. And then this book I wrote from my travels to the Olmecans and San Andreas, Veracruz, 2007. So I was reading a little bit from there because my plan for this series was based on the book When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler, which was stolen when my library was stolen when I moved from Chicago to California. Where's the violin? This is it gets so hard sometimes. But anyway, my plan was to visit all the sites in his book and bring out the Kemetic correspondences from what I had learned from Kemetic spirituality and his findings on what we now know as TaMeri or TaMeriKan. And that man had the audacity to get angry at me because I was only talking about Kemet, and his whole point from doing that research was to show how his religion, Christianity, originated over here too. I just cannot believe some of the people that I've come to know that are considered leaders in these movements or leaders in astronomy, and they're really just horrible Decepticons. I just can't believe it sometimes. I guess that's why I go a downward spiral, because I just don't even know what to say. It's terrible when you get to know people that you are inspired by. I mean, that's just, what a tragedy. When you get to know, you read their books, you watch their videos, you listen to their music, and you have the great good fortune to meet them in person, and they're just so disappointing. And I'm sure I'm not excluded from that list. I know someone that I got to know who watched me on YouTube, and after she got to know me, she blocked me. But it wasn't for the same reason as these other people. Okay, so I have this page marked at River Jordan. Okay, so let's see what I wrote down from there. So I wrote down, the book is mostly about my travels in that particular area, but then the second half of the book is the list of places that I was supposed to visit. And after, I've shared this story before, after I shared this book with him, he got angry at me, first of all, because I wasn't a Christian. And then like, you're dropping all these gems. How can you, but then he was angry at me. He said I was plagiarizing his work. And I said, you're credited on every page. These words are quoted from your work. And then he sent me a cease and desist order. And then that's when the lady who wrote Harry Potter, she sued a high school student for compiling an encyclopedia on all of the things that are Harry Potter. And the judge threw out the case saying that it's a reference. So that's what this is. This is a reference. It's not plagiarism. All right. River Jordan. Amun River. Mar Amun. I guess that is the Neterian or the Mayan name. They have an Amun River, Mar Amun. And so I asked the question, when did they start calling that river the Jordan River? The ancient Hebrew words for river, Nahar. The river, Ha-Nahar, Ha-Nahar. So where did the name Mar Amun come from? Flood, river, Jordan, ocean, rivers, brooks, floods, rivers, flowing of torrents, and the brooks. Yarden Nahar means to descend, descending, going down to the Red Sea. The river Jordan is only a stream. At most, it is a passable river. So his research, he looks up all these places and words and terms from the Bible, and then goes out to prove that those things didn't happen there. It happened over here. So he's looking at the word Jordan River, right? And he's saying that it's the Amun River, the Mar Amun. Over here, there's a Mar Amun, which he claims to be the Jordan River. Floods of water that serve as the highway of the descent to South America was the Atlantic Ocean. Jordan, Yarden, YDN means to descend, to go down. Yarden. Strong river-like current that runs from the western shores of Africa along the coast of South America, including the Yucatan Peninsula. Okay, so I've talked about that the king of Mali had he sent crews of people on this current to go to see where it went. And so the first crew that he sent didn't go, but the second crew, his first crew the first crew didn't come back. And the second crew went and came back and told him that the first crew just stayed there. And it's a current that can take you from the west coast of Africa to the east coast of the Yucatan in a matter of like 17 weeks or something by ship, which was like really fast back in those, or 17 months, I don't remember, but it was really fast. And that is how the culture was connected. Because if you look at the map, it looks like there was one piece, but when they went there, they found like their relatives. They were already there, so they just stayed. That's the myth of this current, right? And so he's saying that the Amun River is the same as the Maramun River, and asking if this is the same as the Amazon River. The Sea of Murmuring is so wide in places it seems to be a sea. Amun means Amun means murmuring. So that's what he does. He goes and finds names of these places and sees how they match up. So what he's basically saying is that the Jordan River originated in the Yucatan, and that when the culture was taken from TaMeriKan over to Kemet to set up a memorial, that's his research proves or states. Right? Now we're at Moses. Moses traveled to, and this is from my book, which consists of my notes from the book When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler, in a concise way without all of his commentary, for someone who wanted to go visit all these places. The idea is to go visit all these places and then write a book about where to stay and where to eat. And then I just kind of, I just stopped because of his comments. Okay. Moses traveled to Patan after striking the Pharaoh in the Yucatan Peninsula. Annual Egyptian Passover observance of the sun passing over the equator. Moses walked out of Patan with 640,000 men. It was more than an exodus. It was a planned military invasion. So I'm going to read that again. Moses, so he's stating that the history from the perspective that it happened in the Yucatan, not that it happened in Africa. Good rising, Constance. I don't really understand why people put so much energy into proving their religion is real or factual, like Christian apologists who spend all of this time to prove the Bible is real. Yes, I know. It is really annoying. And sometimes I wonder, why am I so obsessed with making the connections between these two ancient cultures? I know it's not the same, but it's in the past. I guess because I'm trying to bring it into the present. But yeah, I don't like it when even people who are into this culture, they're so angry that it was taken away from us, that they just are just so angry about it, and they're not learning how to use it. So to prove which one was first, I think we need to move beyond proving which one is first and just use what we can find that works, that's free from colonialism, and activate these sacred temples and on earth and within us. That's, but yeah, I hear you, Constance. Okay. So anyway, his research is to show how it lines up with what happened here first. See, here it is first. What happened here? But according to this, it did happen here first, and that's part of the deception. So, okay, Mount Sinai, the Exodus, is in a place called Cuyena. Exodus began in the Yucatan Peninsula at Patan, also known as Pitom. then landed in Kadesh, maybe near the Orinoco River. Patan consists of Cojedes, the Orinoco River, Mount Sinai, River Cuyuni, Guyana. He's showing how Guyana, how the names are so similar that they took place in the Yucatan, which there's a current that will whisk your ship, like I can't remember if it's 17 weeks or 17 months, but it's really fast back in the day of just the ships that sailed by wind. And that the cultures were constantly traversing back and forth, sharing, food and plants and technologies and ceremonies and festivals. It's just to show that we were connected and that what happened here is just as relevant, just as powerful, just as spiritual, just as ancient as what happened there. Instead of saying one is superior, that or that we all came from there, we were here. And even if you go back to the fact that we were all one continent that broke up into pieces, that doesn't mean that Africa is the only place that we were. That's what gets my blood boiling. Okay, biblical account. Oboth, Abydos, Ie Abanim, in the wilderness, which is right before Moab towards the sunrise. Okay, I got to stop there. Moab. If you read the book, they'll talk about the Moabs all the time. But Moab, that's how I found the place I traveled to in Brazil, in a county. Well, originally it was like all of Brazil was called Sergipe, and then over the centuries, they're shrinking the size of Sergipe because it sounds like Southern Egypt, right? Sergipe, Sergipe. It's like, I don't know, but I was drawn. No, Seregip. I was drawn there because there was a town called Jeremoabo. And none of my friends from Rio had ever heard of it. So I went there and I had an amazing experience. I thought I was going to move there. But anyway, the Moabs came. Right before Moab, towards the sunrise. Johannes, a large washed up island at the place where the Amazon River pours its waters into the Atlantic Ocean. The Valley of Zared. Pitched tent on either side of Aran between Moab and the Amorites. According to Joshua, the 12th chapter, River Jabbok, on the other side of the Amun, Amazon River, Olympus, Amun, Mount Olympus. This land belonged to the children of Amun River. Oyapok runs up to Mount Olympus. Oyapok or Jabbok River serves as a border for the land of Amun. Up the Jordan, not the Amazon, but the transatlantic current. The transatlantic current is what they're calling the Jordan, okay, is that current. But the transatlantic current, it took the Hebrews to the northwestern coast of Africa up to Bashan and Ehi. Modern maps, Ebri and Grand Basum, shore of Ivory Coast. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwells in Haran, defeated King Og at Edrei and Bashan, and then headed back to South America. Okay. Jericho in Brazil, Marano Piani, Jericoara, Passage of the Atlantic, page 170. He says Hebrews ran out of Egypt and then ran back into Egypt and took the country. And there's talking about in the Yucatan that they were going across this transatlantic current, not the Jordan River, but this current river called the Amun. Okay, I'll just do a little bit more. Well, no, this next section is pretty long. So we'll start there next time, the Exodus, chapter 6 of When Rocks Cry Out. All right, so now, what time is it here? Okay, I'm going to dive into this book, and they have an index here. Basically, on these sessions, I'm just doing my research project because I don't make time for it otherwise, but I'm making time to go live with you. Okay, let's see what they have here for the Hero twins. Hero. I said Heru twins. H. Hero twins. Hero twins. Okay, good. There's a whole lot here. All right, so when there's a whole bunch of pages on a subject, my secret is I look for ones that add up to 13 because 13 is my lucky number, and I start there. So anything that I see that adds up to 13, page 355, or anything that has a 13 in it, 355, 367, 385, okay, 485, and 492. All right, well, I'm going to start with 157. I didn't see that one. I'm going to start with 157. So if you want to know my secret, that's my secret. I'm always looking for 13s. And just go from there. Okay, so I'm looking for things about the hero twins because this morning, before I jumped on here, I saw a video by We Know the Truth Now, and he was talking about the hero twins from the Olmec Mayan cosmology, how you can find the hero twins, which is the constellation of Gemini, in Sumerian, or maybe it was Babylonian culture, Olmec Mayan culture, Navajo culture, Kemetic culture, and he also has references here to the Turtle Island culture, the Mounds. And it's the constellation of Gemini, which is also known as the copulating peccaries or the basketball court. And it's important to me because it's in the sacred hoop. So it's so far back. So this is the location of Gemini on the sacred hoop, the hero twins, or the Heru. So I'm planning to go to the spiral mounds, which sounds like spiral mounds, during the month of Gemini on the 13 months ideal chart. I'm going to look up when is the full moon, and then that's when we can meet at the spiral mounds. So let's see. What are they saying about the hero twins here? Okay. Right. All right, so here we're looking at illustrations of Chichen Itza, the pyramid of Chichen Itza, the courtyard. The Sacred Heart of Chichen Itza, with the temple of the warriors on the left, the castillo in the center, the ball court on the right, and the cenote in the foreground. The cenote is like a dug cavern for water cavern. So here I'm just going to the pages about the hero twins. At the west end of the plaza lies the second portal, the largest ball court ever built in Mesoamerica. Here the people of Chichen Itza celebrated the myth of the hero twins through sacrificial pageant. And remember, I mentioned before, I believe that these, I don't even know if you can say, I don't know if you can say blood. These practices involving that came later when the Aztec arrived or when they were first being invaded. I don't believe that, I don't know if they did or not. The Olmec practiced this type of tradition. I know that the basketball games were dangerous and they might have been played to the unaliving of the players. I don't know. But I believe that those practices came much later, that these cultures and civilizations are much older than that, and that in later times, people resorted to taking the souls of people, which is contained in that fluid, the red fluid, because they weren't able to make the connection on their own anymore because their ways had become diluted. That's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to teach anyone that as a fact. That's just based on my observations, experience, and intuition. Here, the people of Chichen Itza celebrated the myth of the hero twins through sacrificial pageant. Here, they also painted murals documenting the founding wars of the Itza that gave the kingdom its sacred charter. Their descendants today believe that the cosmic umbilicus lies under the floor of the ball court and will emerge again one day through the great cenote. Right? Let's get the other one. I lost the page. H. Here we go. Okay, then the next one I saw was 355. So now I'm just looking for the pages that add up to 13. That's how I usually do my research. I just start with my lucky numbers and then I go from there. Because I don't know when I'll have time to read this whole book. So I'm just choosing random pages for now. I would need to get a grant or something to like really dive into this research, which is definitely a possibility. But I can't just I haven't been able to make time for it on my own. Okay, so we have another reading about the ball court. Let's see where they talk about the hero twins. I don't see them on this page. Look through one more time. It's all about the ball courts. I'm just expecting it to show up anywhere. I don't see it. I just love their hieroglyphs. They're so cool. Okay, well, maybe I'm just missing it. Okay. All right, here we go. Another example of this kind of place is the false ball court found on the south side of Yaxpax's Temple 11 at Copan. Its dedication inscription calls in the portal of Yaxpac, Yol Kalam Yaxpac. So the sacrificial victim who rolled down the stairs was on his way to the other world. And this is more than just words. These 6 stairs led down from a terrace marked as the surface of the primordial waters by huge conch shells to the plaza below, where 3 ball court markers complete the symbolism of the portal. Captives were very probably rolled down these stairs to their deaths. A text fragment from Ananal, a site in the Dos Pilas region, also refers to such a place in the kingdom of Saibal. The last king of Dos Pilas built a stairway made of 6 stairs. See, the last king. See, as these stuffs came up towards the end. My goal is not to judge them, but to find clues to the cosmology. So, to make sure we understand that his stairway was the site of the game he played, his artist depicted him playing on top of the glyph, Wak Ebnal, the 6th stair place. These 6 stair places have been found at many sites. Only at Kapan do they have ball cart markers, but we are sure that everywhere they occurred, they were the sites of special ritual ball games in which captives met their fates. The 6 stair places were often inscribed with dynastic histories or the celebrations of victories and defeats in warfare. So one thing I've learned from studying with Seba Ma is that in the iconography, whenever they show a war or someone being captive and taken prisoner, even though it may refer to an actual historic battle that took place later in Kemetic timeline, the original artwork, this is Seba Ma's teachings, illustrates the royal personality, which is us, defeating Set, the prisoners, the captives, which represent our toxic thoughts and fetters of Set. So I was going to make a connection between these later sacrifices of prisoners of war. That would be taking our negative habits, thoughts, traits as prisoners, right? And playing a ball game, which represents the constellation of Gemini. And it's directly opposite Orion and Aset, Sirius, Asar and Sirius. So seeing what would that mean? I would have to say it's the same as the other traditions where you take the fetters of Set, or like at the Temple of Asar, Dr. Ashby tells us that the bull sacrifice represents offering our materialism, and the wild geese sacrifice represents our flighty thoughts, our multitasking, just self-doubt, all those thoughts. And so when they show them taking these offerings, we're taking these offerings and offering them to, I believe it's Amun on both sides that receives these offerings. So I would just say that these rituals and these ball games represents turning over our lower personality, because the hero twins, the hero twins are fighting, right? In the Kemetic tradition, Hiru is fighting Set, and in this tradition, it could mean the same thing. We could make a similar argument for what it represents. So I would have to, keep studying. But that's really what, that's what my purpose is to see how we can use or activate these teachings in a way that the Kemetic spirituality activated something in me. I can't speak for everybody, but I activated something in me. And so I've been instructed to find ways to activate these teachings to bring about the activation for people of TaMeriKans, because a lot of people aren't really interested in learning about Kemet. They talk about the connection, saying Egypt is in America and all these things, and this is TaMeriKan, but for some reason they're not embracing the wisdom that would allow them to defeat their ego, which is, that's one of the purposes of it, or one of the benefits of it. But I don't know. Okay, here we go. These very special war memorials were related to another type of ball court, called Ox Ahal Eb. Ox Ahal Eb. This is reminding me of that term, Kak Ab, which means to let it go. When we started working on the name of this place several years ago, we looked up the word Ahal on the advice of our friend Nikolai Grube. We found that in Yucatec it means to dawn and to wake up. And it is used in phrases like Ahal Kab, which means to create the world. Okay, so here's telling us that right next to the ball court that was used for sacrifices, there was another ball court. There was another ball court used for spiritual purposes. That's probably why the violent sacrificial ball courts were established, to protect the sacred sites, which fell out of use, and then they just started using the military ball courts, which is what happens a lot. All right, let me read this again. Those very special war memorials were related to another type of ball court called Ox Ahal Eb. And Eb reminds me of Ab, which is the heart, because that's what they did in the Aztec traditions. They would, cut out the heart. Maybe they were cutting out the hearts because their hearts were so heavy with what they had done that they thought they could be redeemed by cutting out the hearts of their prisoners, when actually we're supposed to just be purifying our hearts. When we started working on the name of this place several years ago, we looked up the word Ahal on the advice of our friend Nikolai Grube. We found that in Yucatec it means to dawn and to wake up, and it is used in phrases like Ahal Cab, which means to create the world. Sometime later, Jorge Orejel, one of Linda's students, and Linda was my teacher. Linda Shealy was the Mayan expert. This just represents another life that I didn't get to lead. It's hard not to cry. Discovered Ahal in an old Kulti dictionary with the meaning to conquer or defeat, vencer. What was I talking about before? Heru defeated Set, ego, fetters of Set, and our goal in life is to defeat our fetters of Set. Linda resisted his suggestions that this name marked the stairs as places that recorded military conquests until Nikolai reached the same conclusion from his study of a war memorial stairway at Naranjo. The name then is best translated as Three Conquest Stair. It marks the places where the sacrifice of war captives within the metaphor of the ball game took place. Okay, so I guess the three conquest places is the spiritual ball court. All right. Okay. I'm getting kind of a weird queasy feeling. It's good, but it's like excited. Okay. So on this illustration, good heavens. Okay, in this illustration on the left, well, on your right, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you can see those glyphs there. I'm having a hard time with backwards. You can see the glyphs. Okay, but these glyphs describe A, decapitated himself, the maize god, the first conquest, which was Asar, right? So Asar was conquered by Set. B, decapitated himself, TaMariKan, the second conquest. Because we know what happened to Asar, right? His body was torn into 13 pieces and then we found 12. And then so he had to go into eternity instead of come back to life. That's where Heru came from. And my connection is the hero twins, Heru, and the twin goddesses and the divine mother in the Amet tradition. Decapitated himself, first maize seed, earth lord, three conquests. So this is from Yaxixlan hieroglyphic stairs number 2. Then we have the Yaxixlan hieroglyphic stairs to step 7. He conjured at the three conquest ball court the step of Naranjo ball court. He played ball on the three conquest stair, Copan house ball court, the three conquest places. So the 6 stairs is the other ball court, but the 3 stairs is this spiritual ball court. The 3 conquest stair and the 6 stair place also show up in the mythology of classic period texts, although we don't understand the myth as well as we do that of the hero twins. The central panel of the Yaxixlan ball court sequence records all we know of these 3 victories. As we have already seen, they took place in the Black Transformer, so that we know they involve supernaturals. Second, they took place in the distinct legendary past, at least 1400 years before the historical date in the text. The text talks about 3 sacrificial decapitations, and as unlikely as it seems, each was a self-decapitation, chakba, as the Maya called it. We have pictures of just such improbable actions committed by Wayab in several pottery scenes. At least one of the victims depicted at Yaxchilan was the maize god, which is Asara, whose severed head is shown lying in an offering plate. We have seen other offering plates showing exactly the same image. We are still unsure about the identities of the other 2 victims of self-decapitation, but for our purpose, the important thing is the way that these 3 sacrifices are described. They are called the first conquest, U Natal Ahal, the second conquest, U Kanal Ahal, and the third conquest, Ox Ahal. The ball court that Bird Jaguar dedicated on October 21st, AD 744, carried this name. It was the Third Conquest Stairway, the step of Bird Jaguar, Ox Ahal Eb Yeb Yaksun Balaam. Whatever the meaning of these 3 acts of self-sacrifice, this type of stair is named after them. Okay, so what comes to mind is some things, say, my mom would say about spiritual practice, about, selfless service, being a servant to the divine, things like that, of that nature. So I'm going to reflect on this some more and see what else I can find out about it. I've never heard of a spiritual ball cord that was used to wake up. Like if they decapitated themselves at this place, then they were trying to wake up to dawn or to create the world. I guess I would say it means letting go of the material world in a brutal, violent way, which means kak-ab of the material world, of the attachment to the material realm. Because these things, people would say they actually happen, and then some would say that they were spiritual teachings, and then later on, as people lost their own connection, they just started acting it out. And then when the Aztecs found it, it just became the way of life. That would represent the degradation of the spiritual practice, which is what we are trying to do. Oh, aloha, TaMariKan. Okay, so let me just take a minute to write this down, and then we'll move on to another book, and then we'll wrap it up. So, Ox Ahal Eb was a location of spiritual sacrifice. In order to wake up and was depicted by self-decapitation. So that would be my connection right there. Spiritual ball court. And this was located in Chichen Itza, I believe. Or that was the other one. Dos Pilas region. So if you're just tuning in, today's episode was based on the Hero Twins. I was inspired by the video by We Know the Truth Now. He's talking about the Hero Twins, and then we made the connection between the Hero Twins theme and different Aboriginal or Indigenous cultures, which represents the constellation of Gemini. So I decided to take a trip to the spiral mounds in Oklahoma, where the Hero Twins are depicted in the spiral mounds during the month of Gemini. I'm going to look up the time of the full moon so that we'll be able to see the constellation of Gemini, or maybe a crescent moon, so it won't be so bright. So, but no, it won't be in Gemini during that time, will it? No, it won't. It won't be in the full moon in Gemini until the winter solstice. So let me see. Full moon in Gemini during the winter solstice. I don't know. I know we could catch the crescent moon, but it wouldn't be in Gemini. I'm gonna have to reflect on this. The best time to go while the sun is in Gemini, or I want to wait. Full moon or sun in Gemini. I will come back with information on that. All right. So the last, that was really interesting. This is page 355. Let's see. Okay. All right. What time is it? Did I say this? 12. Okay. I just want to see if I can find one more reference to the Hero Twins before I move on. Sorry. Hero Twins, 355. The next one I saw was 362, 385. Let's see. 362. 367. 67. There's a lot about these ball games. My goodness. The Sky World Tree, the Milky Way, the Popol Vuh, the 9 successions. The players are the representing the twins. I guess they're talking about the twins. They don't actually say the hero. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. This will be the last reading on the Hero Twins for today because I'm totally fascinated. Okay. So talking about some windows on the ball courts, Copan ball court. These windows into the netherworld or the other world reveal pairs of supernatural ball players engaged in the game. Sun-marked sacrificial plates rest, which are offering plates, right? Rest under the ground line as if underneath the floor of the ball court where they play, like offering caches, where they would leave the offerings. Like when I went to Elminia, I forgot the name of the Jehuti temple, but it's underground. There's like 2,000 roads underground and all these caverns and cache, or what do they call them? There's a name. They're just filled with offerings to Jehuti, like baboons and the ibis birds. You can see them there. Yeah. They were Sirius. Okay. Generally, such plates were used in sacrifice, and when cached, they put Chulel, Holy Spirit, into buildings and places. Moreover, this specific sun-marked plate is located where the ecliptic crosses the Milky Way. We talked about that earlier. It was the offering plate used by the first father to generate the world tree of the center, and it also held his head when he was decapitated by the lords of Xibalba. Here, however, the plate of sacrifice is inactive. The generative stingray spine is missing. Its presence is crucial because it is the stingray spine that brings the raised up sky world tree, which is the Milky Way, and its earthly analog, the maize tree, into existence. The generative power of this plate is locked inside because Hu Nao Ye and his brothers have yet to be released from their graves under the floor of the ball court. Like the bench markers displaying Itsam Ye with his magnificent beak intact, these images point to a moment in the creation before the hero twins have confronted and defeated their frightening adversaries, which represents the ego or Fedian nature or set in the time before the fourth creation. Each of these three scenes from the ball court A to B markers depict sets of two players flanking a ball. On the north and south markers, the ball is suspended from a house rafter by a twisted rope from which the rat in the Popol Vuh myth will soon cut it loose. A bulbous tree rests on the ground line at the outside of the north and south markers. The north tree has 9 successions, Bolon Te Tzak, and the south has 7 successions, Uruk Te Tzak. These, we think, represent the maize trees planted by the twins in the house of their grandmother, which would be Nut, so that she will know their fate. The positions of the players on the outer markers mirror each other. The outer players stand upright in profile while the inner ones kneel front view in the position of play. Okay. All right. Okay, well, that concludes the reading from Mayan Kosmos about the hero twins. And we're going to have one more reading. That was so fun. Oh my gosh. Let me write down which pages I read. I read 157, 355, 355, and 367. When I do my research, like I'm just diving into a book like this, I just look for the page that adds up to 13 because that's my lucky number. Okay. And last but not least, we have the Cherokee Herbal. Well, I guess it's 2 more, an American Indian lore cooking. So the Cherokee Herbal is where I got my idea for the medicine wheel garden, which is where the herbal formula in my Tchiya medicinal blends came from. I planted different herbs based on this book. And that reminds me, I was supposed to share a list of the herbs for the medicine wheel garden. Maybe when I'm 85, I'll have time to do all this. It'd be great if it could happen sooner, but maybe 67, that's 13. So plants for the mind were planted to the east, and plants for the heart or the spirit were planted to the south, and plants for the physical were planted to the west, and plants for the plants. Oh, okay, I had it reverse. Plants for the spirit and the heart planted for the fire to the north, and plants for the soul and the emotions, I guess that's the heart, I'm getting the mind and womb mixed up, are planted to the south based on this medicine wheel, because we have spirit, fire, over here we have physical, over here we have mind, air, on this side we have the fall or foods and the body, the west, material, and then to the south we have emotions and the soul, and then the heart, because that would be where the heart would be. So that's where I got the idea, was from this book, Cherokee Herbal. So I think I was just reading from the section Introduction, and I don't know where I left off. Okay, is this it? All right. I think, okay, yeah. Okay. Learning from our elders. Like many others of the eastern band of the Cherokee Indians, I am a mixed blood, white and Cherokee, which is, I find to be true of most of the people living on reservations. I felt fortunate to be chosen to learn the way of the Cherokee Indian medicine. I share Doc Amonita Sequoia's vision that others will appreciate the teachings and the values of the old wisdom. I used to believe that I was quote unquote Black Native because I was mixed with African and Native American. And over time, I learned that Not necessarily. I do have an ancestor from Nigeria, but my bloodline is Cherokee. It doesn't say Black Cherokee or anything like that. And that the original Cherokee were the Aboriginal Cherokee were copper colored. So my whole worldview has changed over years. But living on or near a reservation, I learned that the Native Americans that were mixed with white were the ones running things, and the ones that were very melanated with curly hair, they were more copper color than me. They were living at a different reality. It was really hard to see, really hard. Okay. This book is about the teachings in Indian medicine related to the plants and natural medicine of the Cherokee and other southeastern American Indian tribes, also known as Mississippian, the Aboriginal Mississippian, or Florida. Those are what we call those areas before they were split up into tribes. Unless otherwise mentioned, notes on the plants and their use are from Cherokee medicine men and women. There is reference to a Natchez Cherokee, Archie Sams from Oklahoma, who I met in the 1980s when I was administrator of the Cherokee Indian Hospital in Cherokee, North Carolina. Reference to mountain folks in this book is in keeping with the way of Cherokee Cherokee refer to the friends of the Cherokee, those people of European descent who settled in the Appalachian and Smoky Mountains of eastern North America. These were hardy people respected by the tribes for their values and for their willingness to live in harmonious cohabitation with the environment. Well, it sounds like indigenous people of the North that settled in the Appalachians. There is a wonderful body of knowledge and understanding in communities in Appalachia and along the Blue Ridge Mountains from New York down to North Carolina. This knowledge also extends into Canada, where I have friends who help me verify indigenous uses of plants in the North. My first experiences with Cherokee medicine was as a youngster. My mother remembers me being interested in studying the plants and flowers beginning at the age of 12. My early interest in plants eventually led me to study biology and botany. Unlike students who would simply make their leaf and flower books by pressing and drying, I wanted to learn more about where the plants came from and how they were used as helpers. I wanted to grow plants too. My science projects became ways to test how plants could be improved using different mixtures of plant nutrients and common things people would throw away, such as coffee grounds. I had very little time to learn about plants from my grandfather, Oscar Rogers. His passing while I was young meant that other grandfathers in the tribe would teach me the medicine. Our Cherokee family connection is through the name of Walking Stick, which goes back to Polk County, Tennessee, as it is called today, as well as to Union County, Georgia, and Marble, North Carolina. My Cherokee ancestors were quite independent. They farmed the land, and their way of life depended on a few neighbors, both Cherokee and friends of the Cherokee. My closest teacher was my mother, Ruth Rogers Garrett. Her sister, my Aunt Shirley Arch, shared much with me about the myths and stories. There were many others, and he goes on to name the elders who helped him. Cherokee medicine is a way of life for me, for my family, for the Cherokee, and for other American Indians. It is my vision that others will come to better know and understand this way of life that shows respect for every living thing here on Mother Earth, how each has its own beauty and is a helper to us. My vision is that we will learn to respect Mother Earth more each day and come to know how we can be a protector for the resources that our ancestors have called the medicine way. Okay. In a very practical sense, early human use of tree barks and plants were a medicine way for the tribe to take care of its members. Using plants as medicine has always been an exact natural science based on experience of many generations. As an example, earlier Cherokee used willow bark, Salix alba, or white willow in the same way that meadowsweet Philippolingula ulmaria was used by another culture of people for pain. Willow bark is a natural source of salicylic acid. Funny how they named it salix. The active ingredients to aspirin. I wonder if that's where the word salix came from. I mean, salicylic acid. Because you know how it's Latin, right? While we have no written record of willow bark's properties, what was the Cherokee name for willow bark? I don't know if that is their name or if that is the Latin name. Salix alba. Philippindula ulmaria. We have no written record of willow bark's properties. The world has writings of the early Greek physicians, Hippocrates and Dioscorides, who both recorded willows used for pain and fever. As a matter of fact, native people in other countries used it for pain in the joints and muscles and to relieve arthritis, fever, headaches, and toothaches. Well, I didn't know about toothaches. Today, except for knowing that salicin is an active ingredient in the inner bark of white willow, we really do not know enough about white willow's chemical actions. Yet white willow is still used by American Indians, along with dogwood, laurel, and other plants, as a pain reliever. Well, there's my next formula, right? A pain relieving formula. I have one for mending bones and arthritis, but I don't have one for pain relief. I know one that I use has not mint. Oh gosh, I can envision the tree, but I can't name the name of it. Remember the name of it. But let me just write that down real quick. American Indians along with the dogwood. So we have white willow bark, which I have some. When I went through my first Saturn return, I was learning how to work with dogwood. I had a flowering dogwood tree. And some pretty trippy things happened. Dogwood, laurel. Now I have laurel in my flower essences, but I've never used it as an herb. And other plants. I gotta find out those other plants. Menthol. What? Menthol, but it's this big tree. Ugh, it'll come back to me. Okay. So I have to find out that. Okay. Okay. It takes approximately 3 grams of dried willow powder as an extract, standardized to contain approximately 50 milligrams of salicin to be effective. So 3 grams of dried powder to make 50 milligrams of salicin to be effective. Coolio. A standard aspirin contains 325 milligrams of the synthetic acetylsalicylic acid. What if you use you only need 50 milligrams of natural salicin to be effective, but 325 milligrams of synthesized acetylsalicylic acid. Acetylsalicylic acid. Of course, synthetic non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as naproxen also relieve pain and inflammation. They cost about $50 per month and come with potential side effects. So what they're saying is this synthesized acetylsalicylic acid is steroidal. Potential side effects such as nausea, constipation, ulceration, and bleeding, liver damage, headaches, rashes, drowsiness, fluid retention, and ringing in the ears. So this makes you think of all the people taking these pain pills to reduce their pain. Then they get all these symptoms, and they have to take more drugs to deal with the symptoms. Wow. Salicin. I wasn't expecting to learn a new formula for my salves today. Okay, let's see. How much more is it? I didn't know this chapter was so long. Okay, 2 more paragraphs. As a society, we have become used to risking such side effects and bearing the cost of medical insurance. We also have one of the finest medical systems in the world. This is the Western medicine way today, and it works well just as plant medicine did for American Indians of yesterday and still does for some. I would beg to disagree. This is where you can tell that they're part colonized. The Western medical system of today does not work well for patients. It works well for their bank accounts. So don't be surprised if I get another flag for saying that. Okay, this is the last paragraph. There is a story to tell about the medicine way as a way of life, based on choice, time, and culture. The medicine story helps us to better appreciate how the term medicine with a capital M is used in Indian teachings in reference to a medicine bundle or, I used to make medicine bundles. I'm supposed to be a carrier of the medicine bundle, and I don't even have a medicine. It was stolen when I moved from California to Chicago. So I've got the medicine wheel diagram that someone asked for, and then I need to get back to the medicine bundles. I used to make prayer ties, but I think my kit was lost when I moved from California to Chicago. Prayer ties. Yeah, when what was going on? I think it wasn't COVID because I was still in California. Oh, I can't even say that. Oh my gosh. But I'm not giving out false medical information. So, and this is just for entertainment purposes. I'm not like trying to teach anything or someone asked when I was filling application, that's why I'm trying to convert people. I am trying to convert people to a life of health and wellness, spirituality, and truth. But this is just for entertainment purposes. It's just my passion, my intention, my vision. It's my purpose. But it is not for education. It's just for entertainment. Okay, medicine wheel diagram, medicine bundle, and prayer ties. All right, last paragraph. Used in Indian teachings in reference to a medicine bundle or medicine way of life. A medicine object, quote unquote, is anything that we have been gifted or learned that we keep in a special place, physically and mentally, and that is special to us or guides our lives and our memories. The story here is a traditional means for better understanding the Cherokee way. And so the medicine story we will pick up with on our next TaMeriKan adventure. But that really means a lot to me, that last part. A medicine object is anything that we have been gifted or learned that we keep in a special place, physically and mentally, and that is special to us or guides our lives and our memories. The story here is a traditional means for better understanding the Cherokee way. That's beautiful. All right, and then I would read some of the herbs. I think last time I did them. I'm not going to read through all of them. This take forever. This is a lot of herbs. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to do that way. I'll just open the book randomly. Okay, plant. Oh man. You know what? We'll just stick to that for today because this is a lot. If you're interested, I recommend you get this book, The Cherokee Herbal, and start your medicine wheel garden today. Last but not least, oh my gosh, I said it'll be on it. Well, I didn't start till 12, so 11. So, all right. Oh, so this is a book of recipes, but in the beginning, it's stories. The stories. So now we're at Selu, the mother of corn, and it's a beautiful illustration of our huts, people living in huts. And, we have to remember that these are people that built mounds. And later, these are the people that built huge structures on the mounds, temples, pyramids. And later, the people that built the buildings that are currently being credited to the Tartarian people, but it was actually the TaMeriKan people. According to an ancient legend of the Cherokees, there was a time when corn, and remember, corn is asar. Corn was provided without work by the magic powers of a woman named Selu. Selu lived with her hunter husband. Okay, so Asar is the constellation Orion, which is the great hunter. And 2 sons in the mountain country. Reminds me of the hero twins. One of the sons was very mischievous and wondering where his mother got the corn that she brought home each day to grind. He talked his brother into joining him and spying on their brother. Now, this reminds me of the Dogon myth of the 2 brothers. I'm not that familiar with it to share the details, but I know there were 2 brothers and they tricked their mother. I'm going to have to look into that. It has to do with Sirius. Okay. I've got all these notes. When am I going to have time to look at? Okay. The Sirius myth brothers and what they did to their mom. Connected to Selu, the mother of corn. Okay. Following their mother secretly, they saw her climb the ladder to the storehouse. Oh, this is the image of the myth. They saw their mother climb to the storehouse. The celestial storehouse, because we also know how the Milky Way came to be by the great dog Anpu, who grabbed the sacks of cornmeal and spilled them, and everywhere the corn spilled became the stars of the Milky Way. All of this stuff is so connected. It's, it really is, it really gives me a reason to live, to know this myth. And I don't know why it's so important to me. But I guess when I try to act like it's not that important to me, or I don't acknowledge how important it is to me, then that's when I go through this downward spiral like I was in this morning. But not that you asked, I'm talking out loud, forget it. Following their mother secretly, they saw her climb the ladder to the storehouse nearby that stood high above the ground on 4 poles. Well, the 4 poles represent the cardinal axis of the universe, or Milky Way, of our north, south, east, west. Carefully, they pulled mud from between the logs until they could watch what she was doing inside. Great was their surprise when they saw their mother set the basket on the floor and shake herself vigorously to have corn fall abundantly from her body into the basket. Well, they say if you want to know where you come from, see how you feel about the corn. Their first thought was that their mother was a witch and must be put to death. Selu, knowing their thoughts, gave them some instructions before killing her. When you have killed me, she said, clear a large piece of ground in front of the house and drag my body 7 times around the circle. Then drag me 7 times over the ground inside the circle and stay up all night and watch. In the morning you will have plenty of corn. The boys followed her instructions, except they cleared the yard only in 7 small spots. The corn came up in those spots, and since that time, it is only by planting, hard work, and prayers to Selu that corn can be obtained, and even then it grows only in certain spots across the land. Wow. And then here's the image of him. You have to work hard to get corn now, but if they had listened to their mother before they killed her, think of how easy they got the corn before they killed her. And then she told them how to make it easy for them before they killed her. Clear a large piece of ground in front of the house and drag my body 7 times around the circle. Then drag me 7 times over the ground inside the circle and stay up all night and watch. In the morning you will have plenty of corn. The boys followed her instructions, except they cleared the yard only in 7 small spots. The corn came up in those spots, and since that time, it is only by planting, hard work, and prayers to Selu that corn can be obtained, and even then it grows only in certain spots across the land. Wow. Okay, yeah, I'm getting all kind of interesting feelings right now. So then they go on to give us recipes with corn. So some of the recipes are leather breeches, which is made with green beans. Baked cucumbers. Well, I've never baked cucumbers. I've only had them raw on my salads. Mohawk Indian corn with walnuts. Cherokee bean balls with brown beans and cornmeal. Sweet potato cakes. Baked pumpkin with apple cider. Batter fried squash blossoms. Fried hominy. These aren't vegan recipes. Mine would be vegan. Baked sweet potatoes and hickory nut sauce. And cactus salad. The next chapter I'm not going to enjoy is about wild meat foods, animal, fowl, and fish. But it does tell the story of the origin of game hunting. So that would be a good story. It just shows how humans came out of harmony with nature. And then what's after that? Then they have Indian beverages, soups, and broths with really good stories and illustrations. And herbs and their uses. So we have a lot to look forward to. Oh, and then they also have a list of herbs and their uses. For your free catalog of over 400 Native American books, videos, audios, cassettes, maps, craft kits, etc., call or write Cherokee Publications in Cherokee, North Carolina. The first printing of this book was in 1974, and this is the 9th printing from 1996. Beautiful. I have no idea where I got this book. Okay, well, that was a great way to conclude our session. So I had an opening chant. Let's have a closing chant to close the portal that we opened today. And you can find this song on my SoundCloud. I think I recorded a video on my YouTube channel, music channel. When a day I hold, when a day I hold, when a day I, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, yeah, yeah, yeah. When a day I hold, when a day I hold, when a day I, song for the new day. May we have a beautiful day today. Closing this portal in harmony and peace and love and truth and spiritual victory, the royal personality over egoism, spiritual victory of our nation over Western imperialism and colonialism and caucasity, closing the portal, sealing the goodness of this experience, sealing in protection of the Indigenous and Aboriginal people of the four directions. I hope. And I'll see you next time. Oh, sorry, ask. You have to click the bell for all notifications, because if you just leave it on default, it will only send it to you if I send it to you. If I knew how to send it to you, let's see. Is this what this is for? Oh, wait, I'm trying to tap the screen. Share. Yeah, I can share with people on different apps, but I don't know how to share it with people on my that are following me. I don't know how to do that. Let's see, what's this? Engage with your audience. What does that mean? Start a Q&A, start a poll, close. So maybe that's something I have to learn, is how do I share a YouTube live stream with you, because I know how to do it on TikTok. I'll write it down, I'll ask, but I don't know when I will get around to it. How to share. I think the only way to do that is to set it up ahead of time and then send it out as a post. But I rarely have time to do that. I just come on and start. So, but I will learn how to share a live stream with followers on YouTube. Okay, I will ask. Yeah, so I hope you do find the YouTube, the replay. What I did talk about is this session is in honor of the Hero Twins, which jumped on my radar when I watched a video by We Know the Truth Now. He's on YouTube and TikTok, just like me. And he was talking about the Hero Twins in, I think it's Sumerian or Babylonian culture, Navajo, Olmec Mayan, Kemetic, and the Mississippian or Aboriginal Americans at Turtle Island, and that represents the constellation of Gemini, which also represented by the basketball court and the copulating peccaries. We had a reading about the Hero Twins from the Mayan Cosmos. We had a reading about Cherokee lore and Cherokee medicine way. And the next on my schedule for the Mounds is I have a private visit with my family in the Indianapolis Mounds. Not really private. I mean, I'm telling you, so you can be there while we're there. And I would like to do ceremony there, but like I said, I'm gonna be with my relatives. I don't know if they want to wait for me to do that, so we might just go. I don't know. The Mounds in Indianapolis at Mounds National State Park. That's in the end of March, which would be in alignment with April Fool's Day, April 1st, which was the original New Year day. Then in June, summer solstice, June 22nd at the sunset at the Serpent Mound to watch the sunset, the snake follow the sunset. And then Gemini, according to the sidereal calendar, is during June 20th to July 20th. So I'm going to be at Serpent Mound for June 20th in Ohio. The Spiral Mounds, which is related to the Spiral Mound medicine wheel, which has the Hero Twins. I'd like to go there possibly in July. I'm looking for a time to be there where at night we can see something in the sacred hoop in the constellation of Gemini, because we won't be able to see the sun there. Or I may choose another time to go. I have to look into that. Maybe the full moon at that time, though, wouldn't be until the winter solstice. And that's going to be too cold to be outside looking at the moon and doing ceremony. So I'm going to find the perfect time to go to the Spiral Mounds. I'm looking at time in Gemini. So that is the mound schedule for now. And I'm going to be signing off. And it's my intention to post clips from these live streams after they're over, but then there's this thing called life and practicality and unexpected things that just comes up, and then I haven't been able to do that. So I apologize for that, but that is the plan. And of course, to be able to go live more often would be great. Dua Tchiya, this information is needed to solve the mystery of our ancient lineage here in TaMeri. Dua Hatep, exactly. That's what my ancestors and spirit guides told me to do when I left Kemet the last time in 2020. When that thing started, I was there right when it began, and that was my instructions. So I said, okay, I'm going to visit all the mounds that I can before I go back to these other sacred sites, like in Mexico, Belize, Peru, Jerusalem, Peru, Brazil, Sergipe, because there's so much here that's untapped. And so we can activate it. We can learn more about it. We can make the Neterian connection, which is spiritual, not just about remembering battles, but seeing like the spiritual meaning of Asar self-decapitating himself at the ball court to wake up, to create. I believe that it's a spiritual significance, because his body was cut into pieces by his ego, right? His brother Set. So I'm not really into the sacrificial rituals of the Aztec and other invaders. I'm more into what was the spiritual meaning of this to the Aboriginal people, which is our people. Do you know about the pyramid near LA that is now part of a freeway? No, I don't. You mean Louisiana? You must mean LA, because near Louisiana. That's ridiculous. No, I'm going to write that down. Maybe my daughter can check it out. She goes there a lot. LA. Pyramid near LA is now part of a freeway. That sounds like a line in a song. Los Angeles is now a part of a freeway. That is definitely a line from the song. And so another update is I did mail off my new Sapriwa, the Ghanaian harp. Remember that was stolen in August 2012. Oh, it was cut up. They cut it up and used the bricks to make the freeway. Oh, okay. Okay. So that'll be here eventually. And like I said, I went back into my music studio, and so I'm working on releasing. I have like 3 or 4 Neterian albums that I just need to, tweak and then get back to more songwriting. I do have an opportunity to have a regular gig at a wonderful venue here in Chicago. It's an opportunity of my lifetime. I have been searching for 30 or 40 years for an opportunity of a place that already has a good following, that's already conscious, that's already interested in my music, not me going there to play at a bar where people are getting drunk and they don't know anything about what I'm singing, and so they can't appreciate it. That's what has taken 35, 40 years, not a venue to play at. I mean, I played at reggae festivals, world music festivals, Native American festivals, Bob Marley Festival tour. I've done a lot of performing, but never before an audience that resonated with my songs. So that's why I say this is the opportunity of a lifetime. So I'm busy rehearsing and getting ready for that. The bass player I had wanted to hire moved to Arizona. So we're also looking for the right bass player. So that's another thing that opened up during this grand opening of the planetary alignment that started January 21st. And in my opinion, it's climaxed on February 28th when Mercury joined in. And then we have like 3 or 4 days when you can still see all the planets. But I think starting tomorrow, it's no longer 7 planets. It's going to be 6, and then 5, and then 4, like that. So, okay, well, I really enjoyed this session. I've just been very uplifted by the readings and the potential for my research, if I ever have time to finish it. So anyway, the next presentation will be sound healing, astrology, and healing and wellness, herbs, flower essences. I don't know when it's going to be. I thought I could do all day Tuesdays, I'd take a break and do something else, but somebody wants to make a video documentary about me today. So I said, okay. And, maybe I'll go live while we're doing that. So I don't know my next live stream, but I will always have at least one on Tuesday. And then also today is a day of rest on the Syrian calendar, Dogon Sirius calendar from Mali. So I'm not supposed to do spiritual offerings on that day. That's when I realized I can't say every Tuesday I will do this, because on some days I'm not supposed to. Uh-oh, there we go. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm behind schedule. Today is Tuesday. I thought yesterday. Wait. Okay, so I'm wrong. Okay. Today is the first day where I am allowed to make offerings. So maybe I'll come back. I thought today was a day I wasn't supposed to do that. But I have it backwards, because the day of rest was on Sunday and I didn't do anything Sunday. So I may be back tonight with the sound healing. But if you're looking for a different calendar to follow, it's not coming in good because of the lighting. What's this happening here? Something weird's happening. Something weird. Oh, it's not the phone. It's a 10-day lunar calendar. Syrian calendar. So each week is 10 days long. You have 2 days of rest and one ancestral holy day and one divine holy day. I'm sorry you can't see it very good, YouTube, because of the light. Oh, there we go. Because of the lighting. So this is the calendar that I've been following for over a year now instead of the 7-day calendar. And it's working really well for me. So, okay, great. Okay. Well, thank you. So like I said, if I can, I'll be back on here tonight with another presentation. Otherwise, I'll be back when I'm back. Done, ready. No, wait. 30 minutes after I'm ready. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Wado Hatep. Thank you so much.